lava whaatalo whaatu Samoa i le nei tūla o le afiafi, ai alo mai e nisi neo whapoponga o lau Samoa Taulogologo. E tumo ate tātou tala i le amatanga o le masino i ulai, o le nei tau sanga lua afe lua sifulua, o le ato e whaasafua atuai le isi whaamanianga, al whaala potopotonga o whaaputu ngā tupe, mo le lumana i manuia o tangata, mo ana o whaisao whanga, tusa lea ma le tolu tesi ma le lua pasene, o se atelenga le nei o le ripoti, mai a lea whaana nai sekui.
Tātou te manatu i le li ilo tātou atua, awa o iana te au maia ia te i tātou le malosi e mawai o loa, na ia whaatu maui nei i iala na whiangainga, na ia tautou ai. O le tai awa na leila sa whaalawi loa ina aloa i aise tasio mea lofa, mo le au whaisau whanga umar whaala potopotonga o whaaputu ngā tupe, mo le lumana i manuia o Samoa. Se saunoanga le afionga le minista o tupe afionga ia mulipola ana rosa ale molio o sa ia saunoa ia whaamanino ma whaamalamalama le whaamanianga o le amaua le au whaisau whanga mo le aso atai au.
Le foi lai mai tau watu i tātou whaamaumaunga i le aso le nei. Ia e tūlanga ese nei tau sanga i le tū whatasinga lava o whaamanianga a le tātou nupi wha e valu tesi ma le lua pasene i le tau sanga atoa. Ia a whaatupeina, ia e ono sfulu ono tesi ma le 5 miliona le vai ngā tupe. Ia o le pasene atoa lea le nei, ia a tonu o lea na totongi atu le vaenga e tolu pasene. I le masina o aperila lua afe lua sfulu ma lua. I lona au whainga lua sfulu wha tesi ma le 5 miliona. O le aso tolu sfulu nei, o tai au le aso mua iulai. Ia o lea fo'i o le ato e totongi aloa i atuai. Lesi tolu tesi ma le lua pasene. A whaatupeina, lua sfulu ono miliona. E a mata totongi atu i le aso atai au. Ai o le tātou po kalame le aso le nei. Ia o le whaalau i loa. Haloa ia atu, le whaamanianga. O lona winga, o le whaamanianga o le a maua i le aso fou atai au. Tolu tesi ma le lua pasene, ma o le ato tongi umatu, ia tātou au whaisau whanga, a le tātou whaaputu ngā tupe nupi wha.
Saunoa le afionga ia Pauli Prince Sharon o le ofisa Silio Pulenga o whaalaputuputonga o whaaputu ngā tupe mo le lumana i manuia o tangata Samoa, le taimi mua le nei tano na whaavaina le sa nupi wha, wa maua lunga ia na seleni whaalu, mo lea whaamanianga, ma o ia seleni e toi na mai tupe maua whaasili, a le whaalaputuputonga i tausanga ta itasi, au whaamanatua i pea le iupeli auru o le tātou whaalaputuputonga, lo o whaapea fo'i na patipatia le ausia se matati a fou, o le whaasilia leo a seta le sanu pi wha, i le taua o whae e sili atu ma le tasi piliona, i le neitau sanga, ma ua a veai le whaalaputuputonga, ma whaalaputuputonga mua le atu nuu, watau nuu i le atu langa. I le malea, o loo tātou fia whaatasi fo i le nei vai tau, o non whaamanatuina le ono se furu tausanga le tutu atasi o le tātou watunu upe leo Samoa. Mai le sida le komiti whaatonu e ala ngā tatau na whaatino se mea lofa e fesoasoani le manu lautia le malo mo lana fuafuanga ni nei tausanga e whaama ite le whaatupula ia o le tamau ainga na ia mausali mo le manuia o Samoa. E lua se fuluono tesi ma le o tolu miliona tāla, tusa lea ma le tolu tesi ma le lua pasene, tutongi tupe atu i le aso mua iulai o taia o lea. O tului wha mea lofa umwa le ama whaiona wha amatu watu, e wha o ngā mai e upe ngata whailangi, mo le tatou au whaisau whanga, wa mai e le sitalaina mo lea au nanga. Lea whana nai se koni mo lau Samoa Taulogologo.
O lea soa sa tatalaina aloa i ai, se tasi o whale o whaingoina, o le soifua awa o ina, ma sa fausia ina, i le lango malo si mai, a le malo initia ma le UNESCO, i le whaatupe ina ma le whaatotonga ina, o le nei whae moa oa o ngā ale whanau, sa au mai lau Samoa Taulogologo mo se tatou report. O le so sa tatala ina no ia i se tasi o whale o whaingoina o le soifua awa o ina, ma sa fausia ina i le lango malo si mai al malo initia, ma le UNESCO, i le whaatupe ina ma le whaatotonga ina o le nei whale moa oa o ngā ale whanau, o le nei whamoemoe sa amata ina i sauni ngā lotu.
Taitaina ele ofisa sili langolango mtangal wenga wa unga talonga manga nuu afionga tafa Spencer tautu ole nei fa moe sa awai uma iai de minister wa unga talonga manga nuu afionga ya seu ula yoane patasi ai manisi suyo malo olo fai pa anga nei man mtangal wenga wa unga ili fausiina ole nei fale mo wa unga alfa nau ole sui mali UNESCO susunga ianesha mana sui ole hai komsino intia Samoa nei olo ang mauni usila Wellington afionga esmona o faya o nga mali university awa o Samoa fatasi ay malfana wa o nga sa away imoli mawina le fa mo tawa sa no le afionga il minister le nga malfa mo la so ida tsalaina lo ai ul fale mo soifua wa wina fanau if so ai I tu tawa o nga mafaala wa tele ai le ola finau alfa nau il poto salalau malfa ngai no ne fa te kon lo si fa ona pone sa ta wele fionga ni minister ola nei fa mo sa fa tu pe na mafa me afalena ese vai nga autu Samoa na le society initiative ilalo o le fa malunga al matangal wenga wa onga talonga manga nuu sa no le minister wa onga fionga se ula yoane ide mamalu na ofia ina ia tausi de lei nei puna o taua o tatou maua mo le ola lu ilu mo fa nau ma fautu ina fo ile matangal wenga ina ia tausi ma fa apelpele ina a se ta o mafai o na lo fa mai ia tatou atu no o fai pa angai
lawa fionga ile pulsilo tatou matangal wenga pulsilang ulang ai mai se ia le vasengo pulisili tangolango imatata SS le o tatou mawal nei o ataua tatou pulpul lima fatas tausi faalele ina ia umi maonga mo tatou o tatou fatas fo nei manai fanawa onga le o te lo o se fa maite le fo ile mo outou o tatalaina tatou mtanga luenga se isi avano lei e faaua waia o tau a onga ina ia tau nu le manuia o te faasisilatu mo lo fia tel o tatala ile nei tatou ofisa fou mo wa
o me afaingal wenga fa go computer ma le fale soifua o wina o se fale mautu o le afa atanga ina so se tasi mai a onga ese e fa onga ina ma o le afa mama avenga I fo ile tele o fa na wa onga sa no le soi komsina mo lungai o se talia I Samoa fionga Simona e fa fetaile langolango mai pa angal matangal wenga wa onga mo le fausia ina le polo keti mo fa na o Samoa o le fa mo o sala lo I nei mo fa nau ai mai se so se tase mana o mia le ora sa ili mai university mama no ata tala mai mo fa la o tele ina o le ora sue o come piuta mama sini o saunia e silia ma le lua se folu fa tase ai manisi o potu o saunia ile fa le mo fa na wa onga sauno le minister o le afa wa wai pia ona sa ilif so soani le matangal wenga inisi o polo ketita wa fa pe mo le lumanai a wa fa na o Samoa sa fa fetai fo ile langolango mai anisi o lo fai pa ang matangal wenga a wa le fausia ina o le fa le tawa e pe on a wa ya inisi o suyo malo mai le UNESCO mai isi fa la potpotsonga ile so taptailo kitiona mo la Samoa taulongolong
mai nisa tatou tala e ui ina tatou ia ile la sanga mua matala le tele o sama vavao o le fa mai ai o lo fa tino ina pea le au nanga al matanga wenga o le soifua malolo ina o le tu ina mai o reporti o le tulanga o ye le fa mai isi o tatou patunu le fa na nai se kone mo se tatou report e o ina tatou ia ile la sanga mua matala le sele o sama vavao o le fa mai ai o lo fa tino ina pea le au nanga al matanga wenga o le soifua malolo ina o le tu ina mai o reporti o le tulanga o ye le fa mai isi o tatou patunu o reportia mai il matanga wenga o le soifua malolo ina e to asfulima ila tau o pesi de sia mor covid su malaiva e tu sai ma fa maunga mai le lua ile o le asolua asfulima ile lua o le asolua asfulfitu uni o si ti ai la fa ingo ila tau wa afia de sia mor covid su malaiva i to tono Samoa ile se fulu fa feiva sila mo ono ele ai se isi o sa afia ile taimine ino fuanga fa apitoa fa pe fo ile potutinga ina ile fale ma in to tua e fautua ina pea e matangal wenga o soifua malolo ina le mamanu o le atunu ina ia tau sisia pea le fai o tali fofonga tutu manu no fo vava mo le lua mitsa mai le isi tangata pufulu mamadi ma pe amai au na tango fia ni mea fai tino ina ia fai titi ai le so ona pe pesio le siama e tu mau pe fautuanga mo le atunu atoa ina ia nga isi fale ma ila tani mo le fai o tui pui pui o le COVID-19 fulmalaiva awa o le pui pui nga sililia mo i tātou e te e atuai i le mae a o lea vairasi. Tabtailo kitiona mo lau Samoa Taulogologo. Ma le awhaia sina tātou malolonga pupu o na toi taliu mai lea mo na ngana wa Britania. We're going to have some short commercial break, then we'll be back.
Awane e misia lunga la wala ata le EFKS TV. Ipo so lua vai aso te itasi le pol kalame ba ili le anto ponopona le afo le balu le afiafu.
Talk about this. We both own a half share of the property. What are we going to do, Claire?
Getting dressed might be a start. You have no idea what it feels like trying to keep the place alive on your own.
In case you haven't noticed, we're all women here.
Pack up your things and get off the property. I'm the boss now. Let's go. Wait till she has to gallop. Come on.
Good evening and welcome back to another edition of your TV2 News for tonight. Leading our bulletin, tomorrow the 1st of July 2022, the Samoa National Provident Fund will disburse 3.2% to all its contributors. Leafana Sekone for more on this report.
We give glory and remember the Lord our God, for it is He who gives us the power to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenants. The Samoa National Providence Fund officially announced in a press conference today, in this Golden Jubilee year celebrating the 50th anniversary since its establishment. The Samoa National Providence Fund also celebrated the landmark achievement of surpassing 1 billion tala net assets for the first time, making the Samoa Providence Fund the first institution in Samoa to do so. The Minister for Finance, Honourable Mulipola Anarosa Ale Molioo, in her key keynote stated, as we celebrated the Samoa's 60th independence anniversary, the board realizes that our economy needs urgent financial stimulus and heeds our government's call for inspiring growth through an inclusive and resilient recovery for Samoa. The Chief Executive Officer, Pauli Prince Sharon for the Samoa Providence Fund, highlighted it is in that regard that the fund has resolved to pay out an unprecedented 100% of this year's interest declared in cash as our unique contribution to the national effort to inspire growth. Here is the disbursement of the interest to members. 24.4 million tala, that is 3% paid in cash to members on the 12th April 2022. 26.03 million tala, that is 3.2% paid in cash to members on 1st July 2022, that is tomorrow. And 16.27 million tala, that is 2% paid in cash to members on 1st December 2022. Total payout is 66.7 million tala. The interest declared will be accessible to registered members only online. Lefana Naisekone for your TV2 News.
The Ministry of Education, Sports and Culture today launched the Lifelong Learning Lab and was supported by the Indian UN Development Partnership Fund and received its equipment from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Here's more on this report. The Ministry of Education, Sports and Culture today launched the Lifelong Learning Lab and was supported by the Indian UN Development Partnership Fund, received its equipment from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. The Lifelong Learning Lab is a key piece of the Samoa Knowledge Society initiative under the auspices of the Ministry of Education, Sports and Culture. The Ministry of the technical co-lead of this initiative together with UNESCO is progressing well in finalizing the setup of the Lifelong Learning Lab. The ICT equipment for the Lifelong Learning Lab allow a diverse team of equal users and participants to learn, create, experiment and develop solutions across the Samoan society that includes the sector of education, health and agriculture. Speaking about the Samoan Knowledge Society initiatives, the Director of the Office and UNESCO representative to the Pacific States, Mrs. Nisha, spoke on behalf of the Minister of Education and all who were attended today.
The concept of a knowledge society, when it was first discussed in Samoa in 2019, and I'm very glad to see our colleagues from NUS, USB, and many others present here because they were part of those discussions and actually led some of those discussions. There were strong differences. There were different perspectives on what constitutes a knowledge society as well as how to go about it. And these differences are healthy, are very essential because they reflect that one of the pillars, essential pillars for a knowledge society, is in good shape. And that pillar is freedom of expression. So the founding started correctly on the right pillar. As we moved, we recognized the technological leanings of this initiative, ICTs, because it was felt that technology is the tool that must be adopted if Samoa is to grow in the direction of a knowledge society or knowledge societies.
The government of Samoa commits to building digital citizens' capacity through high-quality ICT education, applicable technology, and access to open education resources. This is in fulfillment of Good Outcome 11 of the Strategy for the Development of Samoa, aimed at achieving universal access to reliable and affordable ICT services. The MESC Lifelong Learning Lab provides a model and a tested that can be steered out across Samoa to build ICT capacity, nurture entrepreneurship, and create digital citizens that are empowered to contribute, sustain, and demonstrate lifelong learning. UN Residence Coordinator Dr. Simona thanks the Ministry of Education, Sports and Culture and the UNESCO Office for the Pacific States for working together to bring the project to this phase. Dr. Simona remarks that access to appropriate, reliable, affordable, and modern technologies is critical to achieving education objectives for MISC and nurturing an environment that provides incentives for innovation and entrepreneurship, and that science, technology, and innovation are essential enablers and drivers for sustainable development. The Minister of Education also acknowledged all who supported this project.
On behalf of the people of Samoa, we wish to acknowledge and recognize the financial assistance and technical support from our development partners at UNESCO and the UN Indian Development Partnership. We are deeply grateful for your contribution in education in Samoa. We are also grateful to the Director for UNESCO and the UNESCO staff for all the technical assistance and new partnerships created to help support MISC. However, we hope the technical support and the capacity building from UNESCO will not stop. As I said before, keep. We'll continue into the future. Thank you very much. The government of Samoa believes that the MISC Long Life Literacy Lab and all its resources will provide a very good model for the MISC to replicate in other locations across Upolu and Hawaii. Therefore, providing more people with the same opportunities for access and training and upskilling to get new skills, become a digital citizen, and contribute to the sustainable development of Samoa. It is my utmost pleasure to address the gathering today to celebrate this opening for Samoa.
The Samoa Knowledge Society initiative aims to help build inclusive knowledge by ensuring public access to information that allows participation in decision-making at all levels. It supports a number of measures from policy to capacity building in access to information, open source, open access, and from establishing Teachiko Library at the National University of Samoa to setting up a lifelong learning lab with the Ministry of Education, Sports and Culture. The MISC Lifelong Learning Lab is an inclusive innovation hub for training and collaboration that draws and identifies talents, mentors youth, provides accessible learning opportunities to the disabled, and provides pathway and skills required to meet the contemporary and future challenges of Samoa within the globalized economy. The Samoa Knowledge Society initiative is financed by the Indian UN Development Partnership Fund, which is administered by the United Nations Office for South Pacific Cooperation. UNESCO developed this initiative in close cooperation with UN Resident Coordinator for Samoa Multi-Country Offices Cluster and a range of stakeholders. Taulogologo for your TV2 News. In other news, even though we are in level 1 in the states of emergency order, the Ministry of Health is still updating our community with the COVID-19 latest. Here's more on this report. Even though we are in level 1 in the states of emergency order, the Ministry of Health is still updating our community with the COVID-19 latest situation report. The Ministry of Health latest report on COVID-19 confirmed 15 positive cases within the period commencing from 2 p.m. June 25th to 2 p.m. June 27th. This takes the total number of cases or community and border to 14,906. Currently, there is no patients in the isolation ward and at the intensive care unit. The public is kindly reminded to remain vigilant and adhere to public health advice by continuing to wear facial masks, complying with social distancing, stay home and isolate if one feels unwell, and maintain good personal hygiene at all times. Vaccination rollout continues at Mototua and all district hospitals in the country. All those who have not done or completed their vaccinations or a booster dose are encouraged to do so. Vaccination remains our best defense against severe effects of COVID-19. Taulogologo for your TV2 News. And that is the conclusion of your TV2 News for tonight. Special acknowledgement to the Samoa Water Authority for supporting your TV2 News. Until then, good night. Malifai unga le na lau Samoa Taulogologo ile ne yafi e moli le ngangal whaktai ile pūlenga o swavai o langlango ina o lau Samoa Taulogologo e manuia whaasausaunga le fiafi tau whaasoifu.
I am a customer.
I am a customer
of Samoa Water Authority.
Of Samoa Water Authority.
I was so frustrated at having to pay
so much for water
until I was told about leaks.
A hole the size of the tip of a screw can leak up to 3.5 liters in a minute. That's 210 liters in an hour, 5,040 liters per day, 156,240 liters for a month of 31 days. That equates to 156 cubic meters wasted on leaks that cost 305 tala, excluding what you are paying for the water you are using.
I was paying 305 tala for my neglect in fixing leaks around my home. I have since fixed these leaks and now paying only for the water use, saving money that I can spend on my family.
Fix the leakages for generations to come. Water is life.